for them to come on.
Looks like they're on now.
Okay. All right. Hi, Jeffrey and Joe. Both of you are. Okay. Um, I am calling this continuance to order. This is a continuance of a case that was originally presented on September 16th, 2025. The case is 2021-172, 2022-32, and 2022-43. The DCP had already presented exhibits which have been entered, and today we're going to be hearing from the respondent or the respondent's attorney presenting their side of the case.
Correct.
So let's start. Jeffrey, are you going to start?
Yes, please. So first, I want to make sure the board has all the exhibits of the defendants. I marked them defendants exhibits 1 through 22.
I have the exhibits. Does everybody else have them? Yes, we all have them.
All right. So first, I'd like to offer defendants exhibit 1, which is the answer and defenses of the respondent to the complaint. That's it.
Okay, so let me see here. We're going to accept exhibit. Let's see here, exhibit 1. Statement. Let's see. Let's see. Where do we? What statement do we say each time an exhibit? I don't see that here. Okay.
Well, it becomes a full exhibit, basically.
Okay, so we're accepting exhibit number 1. Do you want to describe it?
Yeah. So the DCP had their complaints for the 3 cases, and this is our answer and defenses to that complaint.
Do you want to explain it?
Well, this is responding directly to the DCP's complaints. In all 3 cases, they had a written complaint they entered as evidence in the original hearing in September. And each of the responses responds to every allegation of that complaint, either admitting it, denying it, or claiming no knowledge, and then presenting defenses to the complaint, which are at the end of this document. These are pleadings, which are typically separate in a court action from exhibits, but I understand that in this case, the pleadings themselves become exhibits as well. So I just wanted to make sure our answer was a part of the exhibit portfolio.
Okay, any objection from anybody? Okay, so we enter exhibit. What's that, Cynthia?
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. I have no objection. I just think for the record, we could just, if we could clarify that it's being accepted as a full exhibit, that would, make it clear for the record.
Okay, all right, so we're accepting exhibit 1 fully and entering it, so that's fine.
Well, are we going to vote on these as we take them in? No. Okay.
No, we're not. Cynthia, do we vote on them or we don't? We just accept them?
I guess if there's any deliberation, there could be, if anyone has any questions on the exhibits, that could be that could be addressed for each exhibit, but I don't think they need to be voted on to be entered.
Okay, so we enter it in as a full exhibit. Do we want to wait till we get all the exhibits to discuss or do each one?
I think,
Okay, is there any, is there any comments on the first exhibit that we're entering in? Anybody have any comments? Okay, let's continue. Jeff?
all right, thank you. All right, so I want to have Mr. Raffone, who's by my side here, ask several questions.
Okay, so I now ask each party who will be provided testimony today to raise their right hand so I can administer the oath. After I've read the oath, each person testifies must affirm by saying I do. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you are about to give concerning the case now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God upon penalty of perjury? I will now call each party to affirm the oath. So, Joe, can you affirm the oath?
I do.
Okay. Jeff, are you going to ask questions to him?
Yes, I was just waiting to make sure that we were ready to go.
Ready to go.
Mr. Raffone, AAMSA Inc., what business is that engaged in?
My position with the company is vice president.
And what business is it engaged
It's a home inspection company.
in? And how long has it been engaged in that business?
About 40 years or more.
All right, and have you been affiliated with the company during those 40 years?
I founded the company with my wife about 40 years ago.
All right. And these inspections are residential and commercial inspections?
Yes,
All right, and what licenses do you personally hold?
I have of course, a home inspection license, number 39. I have a license to inspect for asbestos, for lead paint, to supervise lead paint projects, a registration for other services related to home inspections, such as septic systems and other related kinds of inspections.
All right, and at some point, did you decide to start running an intern program in accordance with the statutes and regulations?
I did. I got to a point where I saw the end of my career in sight, and I thought it was important to leave my family with a mechanism in place that would enable them to have the company carry on. And so we decided to sponsor interns. I have a lot of experience in training people. I've trained literally thousands of people all over the United States for HUD and local community development block grant programs in conjunction with HUD.
All right, and what year did you start participating in the internship program?
I think it was 2024.
2024? Wasn't previous to that, 2020 perhaps?
2020, 2024.
All right.
In that area.
All right, and in connection with the internship program, what did you and AAMSA do to prepare for sponsoring intern?
I hired a previously employed person to coordinate training with people that expressed an interest or responded to advertisements. I equipped a large training room at a facility in New Haven. I purchased computer software, computer hardware with which to facilitate the training of people that decided to come into our program. And I hired a relative of mine who had been through the intern program, who was in fact an intern at the time, to work with me to provide training to interns.
All right. And after this, in 2020, you solicited interns to participate in the program?
I did.
All right. And how many did you actually enter into agreements with?
I think we had maybe 6 people that signed up, expressed an interest, and agreed to the terms of our training contract, and who actually began in training.
All right. And of those 6, how many of those actually finished the training and got their home inspection license?
I think there were 3 of them.
All right. Now, the other 3 are subject of this action, correct?
They are, yes.
All right. Now, you entered into written contracts with all 3 of these individuals?
I did.
All right. And the first one being Aaron Shaw, correct?
Yes.
Now, to show you Exhibit 6, ask if you can identify that.
This is the home inspection training sponsorship agreement that I used, was prepared by my attorney, and it set forth the terms and conditions under which we would sponsor an individual, train the individual on how to conduct an inspection, how to interact with customers, and other individuals that are typically a part of the inspection process.
All right. And this contract, Exhibit 6, is with Aaron Shaw?
This one is, yes.
All right. And
All right, so the Exhibit 6, anybody have any objection to accept Exhibit 6? Okay, so we're entering Exhibit 6 into the case of, and it's been accepted? All right, continue.
thank you, Mr. Schaefer. And Exhibit 17 is the same contract with Mr. Jakubiec,
Yes, it is.
and that's signed by Mr. Jakubiec as well.
Yes, it is.
So I'd offer Exhibit 17 as a full exhibit as well.
Okay, any objection to Exhibit 17?
No
Okay.
objection.
All right, so we enter Exhibit 17 as a full exhibit.
And finally, Mr. Phone, Exhibit 20, same contract, but with Mr. Kenneth Shaw, correct?
That's correct.
And that was also signed by Mr. Kenneth Shaw.
Yes, it is.
Offer Exhibit 20.
Okay, any objections to Exhibit 20? Okay, so we're entering Exhibit 20 into as a full exhibit.
All right, now, Mr. Raffone, is there anything in the regulations that tells you what contractual provisions that you have to put in a internship sponsorship agreement?
No, to my recollection, the requirements are to provide, in a general sense, 100 inspections to review the interns' work product, to ensure that it complied with the requirements of the statute for home inspector interns.
All right, so for example, in the three contracts, exhibits 6, 17, and 20, you collect a security deposit for the training. Is there anything in the regulation that prevents that?
There is not, to my knowledge.
All right, is there anything in the regulations that prevents you from requiring interns to provide their own insurance?
There is not, to my knowledge.
Anything preventing you from requiring interns to provide their own tools
Not to my knowledge.
and to purchase software licenses
Not to my knowledge.
and uniforms?
Not to my knowledge.
And yet those are all the requirements under these contracts as well.
And there were several other requirements.
All right, you had, for example, restrictive covenants, covenants not to compete in these contracts.
Correct.
What was the purpose of that?
We wanted them to feel confident in the fact that if they became home inspectors, that they would have some protection from other interns whom we trained, not to compete with them, nor to compete with us within the area that the intern himself designated.
All right. And all of these contracts were signed by the three complainants in this action, correct?
Correct.
Now, how would you describe the training portion of the services that you provided to the intern?
I take training very serious. I viewed the state mandated online training as sort of separate from the reality of doing an inspection. Certainly, it didn't focus on the Connecticut home inspection standards. It didn't focus on the items that the statute required a home inspector to inspect. And so we focused our training on the nuts and bolts of being a thorough, knowledgeable home inspector, being able to deliver a premium service, and equipping these interns to set themselves apart by virtue of this training, their knowledge, their ability to interact with customers and others related to the buying and selling process. And we spent nearly every possible day, every possible hour, 6 days a week, in class, reviewing every single inspection that the intern did. We would hold daily classes. The interns were required to participate in those classes, and it gave us an opportunity to review the group's training inspections. We watched photos, videos of the actual inspections, and the interns had an opportunity to comment and learn from these daily training sessions.
All right. So in terms of the amount of time you spent in the classroom and on the training agenda, would that be over 50% of the hands-on that you required of these interns?
Oh, easily over 50% of that time. I mean, they would come in and spend a day, at least 6 hours, at least 4 or 5 days a week. They would go out on training inspections together as a training group. Sometimes there would be one trainee intern. Sometimes there would be more than one. And they were trained in the classroom and then in the field. They were made to participate in small ways in the inspection process by assisting the training intern. And I feel that that this type of hands-on training really gave them the depth of training that was necessary to make them an exemplary trainee, exemplary inspector.
All right. When you talk about training inspections, do you distinguish training inspections from actual inspections for which an intern would receive credit?
Absolutely. I think all sponsors, take interns out in the field and have them in one way or another learn from hands-on experiences. And so we did the same thing. The inspector intern might take an electric panel cover off under the direction of another more senior intern. And the senior intern would collaborate right there, for example, at the electric panel, pointing out what the statute required the intern inspector to look at, to write about. And we teach the intern how to make good notes, notes that were easily referred back to when the report was being composed.
All right, showing you Exhibit 3, if you could identify that.
This is the training agenda for one particular period of time. Looks like it's entitled Monday. There are similar pages for that period of time that's covered in these pages.
All right, and would that be a typical agenda of a typical day of one of the interns?
Yes, it is.
I'd set off for Exhibit 3 as a full exhibit.
Okay, any objection to Exhibit 3? Okay, we enter Exhibit 3 as a full exhibit.
And then Mr. Raffone showing you Exhibit 4, and I'd ask if you could identify that.
This is a list of what the intern trainee needed to do in order to become a part of our sponsorship program.
Does Exhibit 4 also contain instructions on how to prepare reports and upload reports and edit reports?
It does. It's a multi-page document, very specific, very detailed, point by point, and very comprehensive.
All right, and would Exhibit 4 this be given to all the interns,
Yes, it was.
including the 3 that are subject to this action?
Yes, correct.
I'd offer Exhibit 4. Full
Any
exhibit.
objection? Any objections to Exhibit 4? Okay, we enter Exhibit 4 as a full document.
All right, so Mr. Raffone, getting back to these, I think you were talking about training inspection. One of the items that you required each of the inspectors to do was to an inspection of one of their neighbors' homes.
Yes, that's correct.
Could you describe that process?
In addition to participating in discussions in class of every imaginable facet of doing an inspection, including or beginning with, how to take a photograph, how to introduce yourself, how to articulate during the inspection what it is you're looking at, what it is you say. In addition to all of this, the interns were expected to complete, I'll call it homework assignments that were given for the week or a particular period or in preparation for a day's, perhaps the next day's review. They were encouraged to and required to do an inspection. Could be their own home, could be a neighbor's home. But they were required to do actual inspections of that nature. They were expected and required to read reference manuals about conducting inspections. They were expected to review and write papers on some of the chapters from their online training. It was a structured, tutored training program designed to take an individual's, oftentimes with little or no technical trade knowledge on how to accomplish a home inspection according to the requirements of the Connecticut home inspection regulation, the standards, if you will.
All right, so getting back to these inspections of either their neighbor's home or their own home, would you consider that a training exercise or part of the inspections for which an intern would receive one of the 100 inspection credit?
All of this was training. The classroom work was training. The field work, observing the intern, the lead intern was training. The interns constantly complained and asked for credit at every juncture. They wanted credit for everything, but we refused to do that. That just was not something we allowed.
Yeah. All right, so you understand the regulations required 100 total inspections prior to being able to take their license exam, correct?
That's correct.
And you understood the regulations that the first 10 of those inspections needed to be directly supervised by you, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you understood that you had to be present during those 10.
That's correct.
All right, so could you explain, this is sort of the $1 million question, these 3 complainants, you were not present for every one of the first 10 inspections. What was the reason?
The reason was that they weren't ready to do a bona fide inspection for which I could allow them a credit. When they were ready, my training mentor would tell me, and I would be there at that inspection. And if I felt that their conduct, their performance, ability was such, I would give them credit for that inspection.
All right, so you didn't consider mock inspections or training inspections to be a full-blown inspection for which an intern should receive credit?
I did not, and to my knowledge, none of the sponsors provide credit to an intern that they sponsor who's just accompanying the training instructor on an inspection.
All right, now with respect to Mr. Aaron Shaw, you did keep a log of his inspections, did you not?
I did.
I'm sorry, this is Cynthia. I just have a quick question. Was that I didn't, or I did?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
So showing you Exhibit 16, you could identify that.
This is a log on that individual. And it sets forth all of the information required under the statute concerning an individual's inspection
All right, so on the,
or inspections.
I would offer Exhibit 16 as a full exhibit.
Anybody have any objections?
Can we just go back to the first page quickly, please? I'm just wondering how is this identified as being, you said Aaron Shaw's?
Right.
Is his name anywhere here, or?
I don't believe it is.
I didn't hear her question, though.
Huh?
I didn't hear her question.
They want to know if Aaron Shaw's name is here, or how do you know this is for Aaron Shaw?
The cover page doesn't appear to be here. The cover page doesn't appear to be there.
In
Sorry,
that
there's
case,
total-
I'm sorry, I'd object to admitting this. This could be anyone's log.
Well, it could be, except he's already identified that it's Aaron Shaw's law.
Well, it's up to the board, but this has no connection to Aaron Shaw. This could be anyone's log.
Well,
And
I
I-
think,
All right,
I think
okay, Derek, you have something to say?
Yeah, I would just offer that it's not clear to me how the witness can be confident of that, absent, if the cover page were here, I think we could reasonably construe that it is what it's represented to be, but without the cover page, I think that's not something we can rely on.
well, the witness, as I said, has already identified these as Aaron Shaw's inspection law. And I believe Aaron Shaw indicated in his complaint that he did 47 inspections and there's 47 entries there.
Okay.
Is
Also
this,
kept a log and submitted it, as I recall, to the.
Yeah, I believe Aaron Shaw's log was presented as evidence. Not 100% sure, but I believe he was presented as evidence in the September hearing for the complainant. So if it,
So I have a question. Are you saying that Aaron Shaw, like number one, that was a direct supervision, and that John and Joe were on that inspection, and he did a written report?
yeah, that was going to be my next question after
Exactly.
it was offered, what the handwritten entries meant.
Okay, so uh, I guess we can enter it in the exhibit, but there's been some objections because the cover page is not present. So we have to understand that there's not clear identification that this might have been the log of Mr. Shaw. Is anybody else have anything to say as far as that?
The great attorney Colin Tate in a situation like this would say, "We will take it in for what it's worth," in quotes.
Okay, then we will take it in for what it's
File.
worth. It's now a full exhibit.
All right, so Mr. Affone, this log, you've got notes, handwritten notes, Joe and John on the first three, and then going down a little bit more on page one, you've got two more notes, Joe and John. First, do you know whose handwriting that is?
That's my handwriting.
All right, and can you signify what Joe and John direct means for each of those entries?
It means that that John and I were there during the inspection.
All right, so on the first page, you've got a total of 10, and you've got 5 where you were there directly supervising, correct?
That's correct.
And again, I don't mean to belabor this, but what was the reason why you didn't have direct supervision for all 10?
Uh, the intern wasn't ready for it wasn't ready to do an inspection, a full inspection, to take it from the beginning to the end. In my opinion, and so there was no need for me to be there during that particular inspection.
All right. And could you explain then, if there was no need to be there for, say, the 4th inspection, why were you there for the first 3?
Because in my opinion, those occasions were such that his in-class performance, his compliance with the terms of our agreement, etc., merited my being there to witness those.
Were there any problems that you encountered with Mr. Shaw during the term of your relationship with him?
Well, on several occasions, he was unable to interact with the customer. He was unable to conduct the inspection in an organized fashion, going, in a organized, predetermined pattern to ensure that he didn't overlook something. He was unable to use a checklist that helped to ensure that he wasn't overlooking anything. He lost track of his training experience. On another occasion, during the period of COVID, the trainees, the interns were required to obtain COVID vaccination and obtain a certificate of vaccination, because we assured our clients that the staff attending the inspection was fully vaccinated. It was later determined that Mr. Shaw lied about having been vaccinated, and in fact had not been. And he put us in a position where we were misleading our customers by telling them the people that were a part of the inspection team were vaccinated when in fact Mr. Shaw's case, he was not. On another occasion, during an inspection, he broke a window. He was just sort of a klutz during this period. And we just didn't feel that his training was as effective as we had hoped it would be at that time.
All right, showing you Exhibit 7. Ask if you could identify that.
So I reviewed every single inspection that the trainees did. I had a closed circuit camera feed from the training room into my office, dedicated monitor. I participated in every training session. Every day a training session was in progress by virtue of that closed circuit transmission, or by participating in the actual training session. And I reviewed each inspection. Sometimes the review would be on the telephone with the intern. Sometimes I would do the review in my office at my desk and develop an email back to the intern. And this is what Exhibit A7 is all about.
All right, I'll offer Exhibit 7 as a full exhibit.
Any objections? All right, we're putting Exhibit 7 into the record as a full exhibit.
And Exhibit 9, if you could identify that document.
So I'd often ask the intern in my review to share with the group at their next training session the substance of my review of the intern's one of the intern's inspections. And that's what this is. It's a request to Mr. Shaw that at one of the next Zoom meetings with the training mentor, that I requested that he review the substance of this particular email.
I'd offer Exhibit 9 as a full exhibit.
Any objections to Exhibit 9? Okay, we enter Exhibit 9 as a full exhibit.
All right, now, Mr. Raffone, the time period was around the winter of 2021 with Mr. Shaw, correct?
Correct.
And that was the height of the whole COVID pandemic?
It was.
And I believe you testified earlier that he had misrepresented to you his vaccination status?
Correct.
All right, showing you Exhibit 10, if you could identify that.
This is my review of a training inspection, I believe that Mr. Shaw did. And I'm looking at the photos that Mr. Shaw took and making comments about what I observed in the photos that were lacking in Mr. Shaw's training report.
All right, and this was in December 8th, 2021.
Correct.
I'd offer Exhibit 10.
Okay, any objection to Exhibit 10? All right, we enter Exhibit 10 as a full exhibit.
And now, Mr. Raffone, Exhibit 11. Can you identify that?
This is an email to the training mentors, Vita, Gail, and John, bringing to their attention Mr. Shaw's the fact that Mr. Shaw was not vaccinated.
I'd offer Exhibit 11, full
Any
exhibit.
objections to Exhibit 11? All right, we enter Exhibit
I-
11.
I'm sorry.
Cynthia,
Yeah, I just don't think this is relevant to anything. Whether or not he was vaccinated has nothing to do with, the alleged violations here.
Well, it has to do with
His character.
Mr. Shaw's violation of the contract.
Well, we're not here
Ultimately-
about the contract. We're here about Mr. Raffone's admission of not supervising these interns and having an intern supervise interns. Has nothing to do with it being vaccinated or not.
Well, Mr. Raffone already testified that his training was not progressing. And in fact, my next question, Mr. Raffone, is what happened after he discovered he was not vaccinated, and he was ultimately suspended from the program for a period of time. And that's why we never got to 100 inspection. I think it's relevant.
any other discussion from anybody?
Regarding the vaccination?
I guess, yeah, required. Well, this document is stating basically that he doesn't have the vaccination and that he can't go out on any inspections anymore. Is anybody
in
have
the-
anything?
Was
What?
it in the intern agreement that he needed to be vaccinated or maintain any kind of medical status to perform his internship duties?
Joe?
Yes, yes, there are several provisions in the contract with the intern that make it clear that he has to follow the standards that that the company has in place that allow the company to be a sponsor, to provide a sponsorship platform to interns. There was a structure to our training program, and he had agreed to comply and maintain his participation in our sponsorship program in accordance with the provisions of that contract. He had to he couldn't do things that were contrary to company policy or to the assurances that the company was providing to the customers that it was providing as the basis for training. And he agreed
Jeff,
to.
would you be able to give Joe his contract so he could show the provision that he's talking about?
Yep.
What exhibit was that, Jeff?
I'm sorry, that would be
Six.
six, defendant 6.
6. So Exhibit 6 is what we're referring to. Let's take a look at that. Okay,
So,
that's Aaron Shaw's agreement. So where in here are you referring to?
Well, on page 2 of 8, under B, trainee duties, trainees, responsibilities, best efforts are required. Compliance with compliance with section 20-491, the home inspection provision, compliance with agreements this agreement, subject to change, allowing us to revise terms and conditions of our training and sponsorship agreement, this agreement. Let's see. Participation, his participation in our, I'm reading 5A and B now. Participate in our training, dates and times convenient, dates and times convenient to the sponsor, training including but not limited to accompanying MSA on designated inspections, participation in purchasing the Horizon software, conducting at
We're
least.
looking, excuse me,
Excuse
but we're
me.
just looking for a provision that says that he has to follow, I guess, company guidelines, and then somewhere you ought to have that the company guideline says you have to be vaccinated.
Oh, well, I don't know that it said you had to be vaccinated, but it said you had to comply with company guidelines, which are subject to change from time to time.
And did you offer an exhibit of company guidelines yet?
Yeah.
No, well, he's asking if I offered.
Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
there's no company guideline exhibit. But Mr. Raffone, was it communicated to all employees and interns that they needed to be vaccinated?
It was.
So
Yeah, would you
I'm
con-
sorry, I'm gonna object again because I think we're getting on a tangent here.
Okay.
We're not here about a contract. The allegations have nothing to do with a contract. We're here because Mr. Raffone, by his own admission, as I, established in the previous round of the hearing, admitted in writing on all of three of these cases that he didn't provide supervision because he didn't think that these people were ready for his attention. So this has nothing to do with being vaccinated. The law doesn't require a vaccination. In fact, if we're talking about Mr. Shaw, he already showed that he had 47 inspections and there were not 10 that were directly supervised. The first 10 were not directly supervised. Vaccines have
Okay.
nothing to do with this.
All right. All right. I think that we'll note your objection, and then let's just enter it in as a exhibit, and as a full exhibit, and with noted objections. Okay. Let's move on.
Thank
Where does it say in the statute that?
All right, so Mr. Raffone, at some point, Mr. Shaw filed a complaint with the Department of Consumer Protection
Correct.
that led to this action. Yes?
Yes, he did.
And he also filed a lawsuit against you and AAMSA, did he not?
He did.
And that lawsuit was ultimately dismissed, wasn't it?
It was.
Showing you Exhibit 5, ask if you can identify that.
This is court-ordered dismissal of the lawsuit.
I'd offer Exhibit 5 as a full exhibit.
Any objection? No. Okay. We're entering Exhibit 5 as a full exhibit.
All right, so after the COVID vaccination misrepresentation, was Mr. Shaw's sponsorship ultimately suspended for a period of time?
It was, yes.
All right, and was that for how long? Do you ever recall?
I believe it was several days or a few weeks.
All right, and at that point, did Mr. Shaw also change the company's password to a Google email account?
He did.
All right, and the relationship broke down completely at that point, correct?
It did.
All right. But ultimately, his lawsuit was dismissed.
It was.
Showing you Exhibit 13, ask if you can identify that document.
This is correspondence, an email from me to Mr. Lombardi concerning my withdrawal of sponsorship of Mr. Shaw.
All right, and in that document, Mr. Shaw also talks about his lawsuit, does he not?
Yes, it does.
Offer Exhibit 13 as a full exhibit.
Any objection to 13? All right, we're entering Exhibit 13 as a full document.
All right, Mr. Raffone, moving on to the next individual, Mr. Jakovic. Not sure I pronounced his name properly. But what was the situation with Mr. Jakovic as it pertained to his inspections, and what happened ultimately that led to him withdrawing from this, the training?
He had a great amount of difficulty in following the training, and ultimately stopped participating in those training sessions.
All right, Mr. Jakovic have complaints about having to retrieve radon tests?
He had complaints about conducting himself according to the guidelines outlined in the training agreement that he signed. He had difficulty conducting himself during mock inspections. He generally was an uncooperative person, and stopped participating in the training.
All right, he had complaints about the amount of hours he had to put in?
He had complaints about everything, including the amount of time required, despite the fact that he agreed and acknowledged our expectation in order to be a sponsor.
All right, and Mr. Shaw recruited him to also file a complaint with the Department of Consumer Protection?
Mr. Shaw recruited the participants to the DCP action to withdraw from the training, and attempted to intimidate us to his way of thinking in terms of getting credit for an inspection, for every little thing he did, despite the fact that it could hardly be considered an inspection or even participation in training.
All right, and he has the same complaint about direct versus indirect supervision. Could you explain why the first 10 inspections were not directly supervised?
Certainly the statute provides guidance in these things, but the fact of the matter is, some interns are ready sooner than others for their first, quote, 10 inspections. And I think it's commonly held amongst all, or amongst many sponsors, that each intern needs some individual hand-holding in order to bring out the best qualities in that particular person. And they're not always ready during the first 10 or the first 20 or any group of first inspections. It just didn't in actuality, in reality, it doesn't work that way. It's like other statutory provisions. For example, sponsors can only have one intern, yet sponsors commonly have multiple interns. We took it as guidance, and we went overboard in terms of preparing interns to be the best possible representation of our profession. We just refused to rubber stamp interns, who would be representatives of an industry that I held sort of sacred. And so we trained them and sponsored them to the best of our ability, and beyond the requirements set forth in the statutes.
All right. Defendants 21, this is moving on to the third individual, Kenneth Shaw. That's Mr. Shaw's complaint. Good look at that.
Mm-hmm.
What exhibit are we looking at? What exhibit, Jeffrey?
21.
Well, we're going to skip over 21, go to 22 at the moment. 22 is your response to the complaint regarding Mr. Kenneth Shaw?
It is.
All right. It's a short response, so if you could read it and then explain to the board what the situation was regarding Kenneth Shaw.
Mr. Shaw filed a complaint. It reached Mr. Lombardi. Mr. Lombardi wrote me asking for a response. And this exhibit 22 is my response. It says the matter does not involve a consumer. It's a contract dispute. The contract is attached. The facts are that Mr. Shaw applied to us for home inspector intern sponsorship and training. There was no charge for the training nor the sponsorship. We entered into the attached agreement, and I provided Mr. Lombardi with a copy of the agreement. Approximately 6 weeks after the start of training and following almost 200 hours of training, it became clear that Mr. Shaw had not mastered even many of the most basic principles of his training. I suggested he attend more personal free training, but Mr. Shaw refused and made it clear that he was no longer interested in our training or sponsorship. And so this was an individual who was just not ready to do anything. He was not able to communicate with the customer during an inspection that I accompanied him on training inspection. He froze up and had to retire to his car. And this memo is just familiarizing Mr. Lombardi with the reasoning behind our suggestion to Mr. Shaw that he restart the classroom training part of his training.
All right, and again, not to belabor it, but first of all, I'd offer Exhibit 22 as a full exhibit.
Any objection to Exhibit 22? All right, Exhibit 22 is entered as a full exhibit.
All right, so again, Mr. Raffone, I guess Mr. Kenneth Shaw's complaint is that the first 10 inspections were not directly supervised with you present. What was the reason for that? And
Well,
could you explain it so the board understands what your thinking was here?
Mr. Shaw wasn't fit to conduct an inspection, and it couldn't be more clear than on the occasion referenced in my email to Mr. Lombardi, wherein I explained Mr. Shaw froze up, was unable to interact with the customer, and had to retire to his car. I was there. I saw this firsthand. There was no way I could allow him to conduct inspections being in the state of mind that he was actively in, and finding him unable to carry on even a conversation. And this again was an example that I couldn't allow him to do 10 inspections because he simply wasn't fit. He needed more training, including more training inspections, more observing, more hands-on experience. He didn't agree with that. Oftentimes, as the board members have probably experienced, oftentimes the trainee feels he's more ready than he might actually be to assume more responsibility than he is actually qualified to assume. The statute puts a lot of emphasis on the sponsor's responsibility for the conduct, for the inspections that the intern puts out, but it doesn't provide guidance on how the sponsor must go about ensuring that that the sponsor isn't putting himself in jeopardy, or worse, not providing accurate, factual information in the delivery of the inspection report. And so, though the statute specifies that the sponsor must accompany the intern during the first 10 inspections, the first 10 inspections cannot always be and are not always what the intern thinks are the first 10 inspections. It's really what the sponsor deems are the first inspection.
All right, so sounds like you're creating a distinction between a training / mock inspection and a full-blown inspection.
Correct.
All right. Do you currently engage or participate in the internship program anymore?
I do not.
You stopped after these complaints were filed, right?
I did.
And these complaints were filed in 2021 and 2022?
Correct.
All right, so you're not participating for the last 4 years with intern.
Correct.
I assume it's because you're not satisfied with the experience you have, correct?
That's correct.
Now, the state is asking the board to take your license away. Uh, what's your reaction to that?
Well, in the past period of licensing, I've done thousands of inspections. I don't think I've had even a single complaint from the thousands of people that I provided my service to. Um, to bring this action against me um, uh, seems misplaced, misguided, and certainly unjust. And that's how I feel about it. I'm nearing the age where um, I prefer to wind my inspection participation in the business down, with the honor that I believe I've earned over the past 35, 40 years.
Right. And if your interpretation of the statute pertaining to the first 10 inspections is different than the state's, do you feel that the substantial monetary penalties the state is asking for are appropriate?
I don't. I feel that I have complied with the statute. I've gone far beyond what the statute requires of a sponsor. Never having a complaint, even against an intern or an inspection conducted by an intern whom I sponsored.
And if the board ultimately determines that you're not eligible to participate in the internship program anymore, would you be okay with that?
Absolutely. I have no plans of being a sponsor ever.
That's all I have.
Okay, so at this point, do we want to have closing arguments? Cynthia, would you like to make a closing argument?
Yeah, I don't believe I have any cross-exam for Mr. Raffone either. I just think that at this point, the department's proven its case. Mr. Raffone repeatedly admits that he didn't supervise according to the statute, and it's not a matter of the respondent's interpretation or what, the respondent believes it should be. The statute is black and white, the regs are black and white, and he's already testified that he didn't comply with that. So I don't think I have anything to add in terms of cross. And I think the department proved this case already the first time around.
Okay, Jeff, do you have a closing statement?
Just briefly,
Chair?
well, actually,
Hold on, let's,
I
yeah,
may have, I may,
hold
I
on
may
one
have,
sec, hold on one second, Jeff. Did you have something to say, Derek?
Yeah, Chair, I'm just new to the board, so I'm not sure. I guess I'm still learning the procedures of this board, but are we going to permit questions from the board members? I was not wanting to be disruptive and step in during the direct.
Well, let's take the closing argument from the defendant, and then
Yep, very good. Thank you.
maybe we can have some questions from the board to Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, continue,
Mr.
Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to say that I may have one more witness, and I asked for like a 5-minute break to determine whether I want to put him on or not before
Anybody have
closing
an
argument.
objection to that?
I have no objection.
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's a 5-minute break.
All right, so I do have another witness. It won't take long.
Anybody have an objection? Because I guess he closed his case now that we're doing final arguments. Anybody have any objections to
I didn't
him
close my
calling
case.
the other witness? What's that, Jeff?
I didn't close my case.
Oh, you didn't close. I thought you closed your defense. So I thought we were on closing arguments. But anybody have an objection to hear the witness?
No
No.
objection.
Okay. All right. Let's proceed, Jeff.
You're going to need to swear in this witness because he wasn't here at 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, proceeding, closing argument. All right, let's get the right. All right. Bold statements for deliberation. Then. All right. I'm not seeing that page. All right. Okay. Uh, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you are about to give concerning the case now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God, and upon penalty of perjury, I will now call on you, I guess, is the witness Jeffrey Padula?
John Livornia.
Oh, John Livornia. Okay, John Livornia, as a witness to tell the truth.
Yes,
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
May I
Okay.
proceed?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Livornia, what's your relationship with AAMSAE?
I worked as a trainer for the people that were coming in for home inspections.
All right, and in 2020 and 2021, you were training the interns,
Correct.
and that included Mr. Aaron Shaw
Yes.
and Mr. Kenneth Shaw
Yes.
and Mr. Jakubik, right?
Yes.
If I'm pronouncing
Steve?
his name proper.
Was it Stephen?
Stephen Jakubik.
Yes. Okay.
All right, showing you Exhibit 16, which is the Aaron Shaw inspection log. The first three items say Joe and John direct supervision. Can you confirm that in fact you and Mr. Raffone were directly supervising those inspections?
Yes.
All right, so for the indirect ones shown on this page, you were just present yourself, correct?
Correct.
All right. Were these just training inspections? How would you describe the indirect exercises inspection?
They were still training in my perspective, and then everything was gone through Joe, and then from our findings, Joe would have a meeting with all of us and discuss what was found.
All right, so no report was issued until everything was reviewed by Mr. Raffone?
Correct.
All right, and when you say these were training, you were just giving instructions to the intern at that time on what to do?
Correct.
Could you describe a typical training inspection?
Showing the way we would go, starting off a house from the exterior to the interior, taking a look at all of the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and everything, all aspects of the home inspection. And they would follow, and they would do that.
All right, and
And
you
this
considered
training.
you consider these educational hands-on inspections, correct?
Correct. And that's outside from in classroom that we did
And
in
they're
the
in-
office.
And their in-classroom training was substantial as well?
Yes, yes, because we came through findings. If they didn't have any findings, we would have them get pictures of defects, and we would go over them and how to find them, how to write them up in a report.
All right, and with respect to Mr. Aaron Shaw, what was your impression of his understanding of the entire inspection process?
In my opinion, he did a good job. I wasn't the ultimate person that would discuss it, yes or no.
All right, and how about Mr. Kenneth Shaw? How did that training go?
Kenneth Shaw, a little bit more difficult. It was hard to grab the concept of an inspection. Was always second guessing himself. And again, I know it's training, but it was just too long of a training. I wasn't picking up.
And finally, Mr. Stephen Jakubik. What
Stephen
was
had
your impression with him?
had a good understanding of everything.
Did he complain about the hours? Do you recall?
At times, because they weren't out in the field, but if they weren't out in the field, it's because they were training in the office.
That's all I have this week.
Okay, any cross-examination, Cynthia?
Just a couple quick questions. Mr. Livornia, are you a licensed inspector at this point?
Yes,
And when did you obtain that license?
2022.
22? Were you an intern at the time that you were supervising the interns?
Yes,
Did you ever inform the department that you were supervising interns?
no,
Were you licensed to sponsor anyone? Like, did you ever accept responsibility for an intern by informing the department of sponsorship?
no.
I have nothing further.
Okay, all right, Cynthia, you gave a closing argument. Jeffrey, are you going to give a closing argument?
Yeah, a very brief one.
Okay,
Yeah, so ultimately, there's, I guess, a dispute as to what the meaning is of these so-called first 10. Mr. Raffone was under the impression, rightly or wrongly, that the first 10 are only to be counted once they're out of, quote, training. That any indirect is just part of the whole training process, which is just an extension of classroom training. So for Mr. Aaron Shaw, he had 5 direct and 5 indirect, but then things sort of took a turn for the worse, and almost all, not all, but almost all of the rest, he got credit for indirect and not direct. And the statute says the first 10, but it does not take into account training. And certainly, for example, the board can't suggest that an exercise where someone is inspecting their own home or their neighbor's home as part of an educational requirement, that can't be deemed one of the first 10. And Mr. Raffone was really of the opinion that most of these initial inspections performed by these interns were really no different than a mock inspection of their own home or their neighbor's home. That's number one. Number two, what the state is asking for here seems draconian, in as much as they want to take Mr. Raffone's license away that he's had for 40 years. They want to impose substantial monetary penalties when the evidence is that the only lawsuit that stemmed from these so-called violations was ultimately dismissed by the court. Nobody's been economically harmed. Mr. Raffone, because of this whole experience, is not going to participate in the internship program anymore, and he's agreed that you could issue that order and he'd be fine with it. So ultimately, this is, in our opinion, if there is a violation, it's technical at best, and the remedies asked for by the state are excessive.
Okay. All right. So we're going to allow some questions from the board to, I guess, either party that were witnesses. So who'd like to go first? Okay, Steve. You have to
All
put your
right.
microphone on.
Should be able to hear me now, right?
Yep.
Okay. Here's my question. During the period of internship of your witness, was he getting credit for those inspections?
Oh, of Mr. Livornia?
Yeah.
If he, do you want me to answer this question?
Yeah, I don't know the answer.
During, yes, if Mr. Livornia was doing the inspection, he received credit for it. And he was the only person that received credit for it.
So he was being supervised by you, and those were not in-person supervisions by you, but they were inspections that he was getting credit for.
Yes, and at that point, he had far surpassed the 100 inspections, and so he no longer needed the credit. I mean, yeah, correct. He no longer needed to.
You had already provided the 10.
Yeah, he had far surpassed that count.
Was my question.
Okay, anybody else have questions?
I have a couple.
Okay, Derek?
Thank you. So I'm in general agreement with the attorney representing the state that the extended discussion about vaccinations is probably largely irrelevant to what's before the board. But to the extent that the respondents seem to be making the case that it gets to character, I do want to delve into that a little bit. I heard the witness characterize, is it Mr. Shaw, as having been deceitful, or I think the word was lied a number of times. And as I look at some of the email correspondence that was entered into the record, I think I have my eyes on Exhibit 11 primarily. That seems to suggest that there was actually there seemed to be a big breakdown in communication between all the parties here. But that email seems to suggest to me, as I read it, that the fact that Mr. Shaw was not vaccinated came as a surprise. He acknowledged that in the email. So help me understand, why the characterization that Mr. Shaw lied. I do appreciate, and I don't want to get distracted around the fact that I think in one of the bits of correspondence, Mr. Raffone made the point, not during the testimony, but in the written correspondence, that there was some feeling that there was exposure, liability. And look, during the pandemic, the concept of vaccinations was a highly charged, politically charged matter. But for the purposes of this dispute, this case that's before the board, and Mr. Raffone's representations that the character of Mr. Shaw was apparently in play or a matter of importance, help me understand why we're using the words lying.
I think that term applies because Mr. Shaw assured me that he had been vaccinated. He could have chosen not to be vaccinated. That would have been fine. And we simply would not have, we would have interrupted perhaps his training because we had other contracts with homeowners whom we were assuring that our staff of people who might be at the inspection were vaccinated. So we didn't want to mislead our customers by saying they were vaccinated when they were not. We didn't require an intern to be vaccinated, except that if he wanted to continue to participate in our program at that point, he would have to make the decision. And,
All right,
and so he chose to lie, in answer to our question, have you been vaccinated? He just misled us.
Okay.
I would also,
All right.
I'd also add that Mr. Raffone testified that Mr. Shaw had gone into their Google email account and changed the password. And I would call that deceitful, because apparently at his deposition, he admitted to that, and he said he wanted to preserve records for his lawsuit and for his complaint. So,
yep, that's in the record. I recall that. So thank you. All right. A different question that I wanted to ask here is, Mr. Raffone, I recall you saying during today's hearing that you viewed the statute that calls for the practices around supervision to be largely guidance. And as I look at statute 20-493B that is specific to the criteria and the practices for supervision, subparagraph C, not to quarrel with you, sir, but I think, when a term is defined in the statute, it's defined for the purposes of removing ambiguity, right? And the term direct supervision is directly defined. It reads, for the purpose of this section, quote, direct supervision, close quote, means the supervisor shall be present at the site of a home inspection where the home inspector intern is assigned 100% of the time, and such a supervisor shall countersign all documents prepared and completed by the home inspector intern. Help me square your view. Help me understand your view that that is guidance and not, as it appears to be, lacking ambiguity.
Well, that does not lack ambiguity. That's very clear. However, I controlled when an inspection, when it was an inspection that an intern was doing versus participated in training. That is not clearly defined in the statute. And I think it was not defined in the statute because the sponsor needed flexibility. And so I simply exercised flexibility there in whether or not the intern was accompanying the mentor during an inspection, wherein credit would be forthcoming to the intern, or on a training exercise.
All right, now we're getting to the heart of something that's important here. You several times today were relying on your determination, your conclusions, that these interns were not ready. At multiple points, you talked about them not being ready. And I think that connects directly to what you just said, right? If they're not ready, then you as the supervisor are not bound under the statute to be present, right? Because it's not an inspection that is, for your purposes, intended to count among the 10, right? So help me understand, do you feel that you were effective in communicating ahead of time to these interns that you were not going to be there because in your view, they were not ready and therefore they should not be surprised that you were not present and not complain afterwards that you were not present? Do you understand what I'm asking you, sir?
I understand exactly what you're saying. And I did confer that to them repeatedly. And I conferred that repeatedly because they repeatedly argued for credit on everything, from sitting in the classroom to going out on a training inspection. They wanted credit for everything. And we just didn't provide that kind of training. That wasn't the intent of our sponsorship. We just refused to turn out people who did 100 inspections, but weren't really qualified to be an inspector. And so that's my answer to that question.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anybody else? Mark?
Sorry. I have a question in regard to the log and the definition of, well, what you're referring to, Joe, as training inspections and inspections that are indirectly supervised. And the inspections that are listed on that log, those were inspections that were done for a buyer that was paying for the services that were being rendered by the intern and whoever the supervisor was at the time, whether it was John or you. Is that the case, that those were paid inspections?
Correct.
So when they were going out to do those inspections for those buyers and that were paying, did they understand that those were training inspections, or did they understand that those were inspections that they were doing that would count towards their licensing?
Not only did they understand that, but it was made vividly clear in the paperwork as to whom the inspector was, right? And so we would email them I'll call it an assignment, an inspection, and it would have the inspector's or intern's name on the paperwork, right? So that everyone would know who was going to conduct the inspection. And it was clear.
And those reports that they wrote, those were delivered to the buyers as the inspection report?
The person whose name was noted as the person conducting the inspection was noted on the inspection assignment, if I can use that word, and on the report that was provided to the customer after the inspection.
So on that log, again, on that log that he provided, that was shown as the exhibit 16.
That's right. So,
for A. Shaw, those were reports that he wrote. His name was on those, and those reports were delivered to a potential buyer of the property.
That's right. It would have had the direct sponsor's name, my name. It would have had the training mentor's name. If it was John, it would be his name. And it would have the intern's name, the person to whom the credit was issued if he was conducting the inspection as an intern. And if he was just accompanying, the report would have his name as trainee. And my name appeared on every report as the sponsor, supervising inspector. If you looked at one of our reports, you would find my name as a sponsor. All of that was disclosed, not only disclosed in the report, but disclosed in advance prior to the inspection, several days before the inspection. The client, the customer, would receive an email that had all of that information fully visible. And since we're talking about interns, the intern would be a party to that email.
Yeah,
So
I just want
everyone
to,
knew,
I'm just trying to understand how, if the intern was being described by you as not ready or, not qualified, or I forget the exact terminology you used during your testimony there, but um, how is it that they were not prepared to be doing these inspections, but yet he still went out and did 47 inspections, mostly indirect, but still he was conducting inspections that he was writing reports for, and they were being delivered to a buyer. I don't understand how he was being described as not competent.
may I
So,
explain that?
also, just be clear that you have a log and it says direct and indirect, and the ones that are direct, you were there supervising, and the indirect ones, you looked at the report. But were all of those reports done by Mr. Shaw, or were they done by the person who was there? Just be clear, was Mr. Shaw's report being delivered to the client, or was it the other intern that did the report and gave it to the client?
Mr. Shaw's report, subject to my review, was delivered to the client. And on the occasions noted in the log, John and I, or me alone, was there, but the credit went to the intern.
So on that log sheet, just to be clear, you're saying that, I don't know, 5 of them are direct and all the other ones are indirect, and those were supposedly credited for Mr. Shaw. He had 5 that were direct and, let's say, 45 that were indirect, and that's what he had done so far?
Your numbers are a little off, but yes, that's
Right.
exactly right, and that's despite the fact that that another supervising, or in my case, supervising inspector was present, and I would have participated to some extent. The credit went to the intern that in this case, Mr. Shaw. In addition, if there were 2 interns present, only one intern received credit. The intern who was leading the inspection, right? If that was John Livornia, as long as Mr. Shaw, in this case, was leading the inspection, he got the credit. And he knew which inspections he was going to receive credit on.
And you reviewed all the inspections as a supervisor?
Absolutely.
So the 40,
Okay,
again, and I don't mean to be redundant, but the ones in the log that show that he wrote the report, he was the lead inspector on those?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
But they were all
any other
reviewed by
questions?
you before the customer, right?
That's right. Before they went to the customer, they were all reviewed by me. I mean, it was a simple matter of writing the report, emailing it to me, my review, my comments back to the intern, to perhaps amend the report, and then back to me, and I would send it off to the customer.
But yet you're saying that he was not qualified yet to have the 10 supervised, right?
Well, in this case, at this point in time, he was, because he got credit starting in October. I don't know when he began. Shaw probably began a few months before this point, but you could see from the log that beginning in mid-October, October 19th, uh, uh, through some point in November, he was getting full credit, right? So
I
on
guess I
those,
guess the question is, you had said something about the indirect and direct. why didn't any of the others that he did after the direct one, you felt that you didn't want to give him more direct inspections?
There were issues during the review process that may have come up that made me think that he needed some additional training before I would accompany him again and render that as one of the 10.
Okay. Any other questions? Let me ask, I have a question. When when the state defines the process, is it your understanding that this intern does 100 inspections and writes reports for 100 inspections?
That is my understanding, yes.
Okay. And just to be clear here, you were thinking that the 10 supervised ones didn't necessarily mean to be the first 10. They could have been anywhere in that the supervisor had felt that he was ready to have the direct supervision.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions that anybody has? Um, okay, so do we close the hearing and we'll close the hearing, and as I said before at the beginning of this, or if it wasn't on record, that the board would like to review the documents and have another meeting to decide how we are going to proceed. Okay, anybody else have anything to say here?
I want to thank the board for taking time out of their busy schedule to hear this matter and consider my view on my conduct during that short period of sponsorship. Certainly, the board is faced with their own exposure to being a sponsor, or the board members are certainly, and I think it's important that this hearing be a guide to the board to perhaps changing or thinking about considering changing the statute to be more definitive in response to what training actually encompasses. And I appreciate your hearing the matter.
Joe, just to be clear, you're not supervising or training any other new people, right?
Correct.
And are you still performing home inspections?
Yes.
And I guess it was your intern who was an intern. Now he's an inspector. Does he work for you?
Yes. He's actually my nephew.
Your nephew. Okay. All right. Any other
Quick question,
Mark, do you have a
Bruce?
question?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Joe. How many out of the people that have gone through your program, how many are actually licensed inspectors now?
I'd say half.
Well,
So
what
three.
was it? Okay.
Three people.
Yeah, he testified they had 6 interns and 3 are full-blown inspectors.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, I'm going to close the meeting, close the hearing right now, and we'll proceed as mentioned before.
Thank you.
Thank you.